Good morning, Jay.
Big news about Syria today.
Absolutely. This could be the breakthrough many people have been desperately waiting for in Syria, with the ceasefire deal brokered by Russia and Turkey. And for now, it seems to be holding, except for several clashes near the capital, Damascus. But so far, there's been no casualties since the ceasefire began. That was last night. About the agreement itself, it was, as I said, brokered by Russia and Turkey, and it includes the Syrian government, several rebel groups representing an estimated 60,000 fighters, including the Free Syrian Army, backed by the Western powers. Now, it does not include three key parties in this conflict. You're looking at the Islamic State group, which holds roughly a third of the territory, the local Al-Qaeda affiliate, and the Turkish militia YPG, which is backed by the U.S.
The ceasefire was brokered, as you said, by Russia and Turkey, and that's great news because the refugee situation coming out of Syria is just awful. But it's curious, where was the U.S. in all of this?
It's an excellent question. There is no indication that the U.S. has been a part of what could be a crucial deal for Syria. And it shows Russia and Turkey's determination to appear as the power brokers in Syria, potentially try to sideline the U.S. as well as the UN and other Arab nations. The U.S. State Department reacted to the announcement. It said any effort that stops the violence, saves lives, or creates the conditions for political negotiations would be welcome. The Russian Foreign Ministry, with its voice, Sergei Lavrov, did mention the U.S., saying that the incoming Trump administration was welcome to join the peace talks in Kazakhstan in January. Donald Trump, who has vowed to stop supporting the rebels and to work instead with Vladimir Putin against jihadists.
The ceasefire seems to be holding. What are the predictions on how long that will remain in place?
It's so hard to tell, bearing in mind that previous ceasefires have failed, including those negotiated by the U.S. and Russia. Now, one of the sticking points, really one of the weak points in this agreement, as in any previous agreements, is the fate of the Syrian president. What is going to happen with Bashar al-Assad? Bearing in mind that if you talk to any rebel group, they will say they do not want Bashar al-Assad to stay in power. So that's one of the really tricky parts of any deal that would concern Syria.
I think that's the key there, is that you can agree to stop fighting for a period of time, but there has to be something that comes after that, because these groups don't like one another and they don't agree with one another. The Soviet Union backs Assad. The rebels, as you said, want to get rid of Assad. So where do those negotiations go at this point?
I think what could be a deal changer, and might already have been a deal changer, is the election of Donald Trump. That's what many analysts are saying, is that with Donald Trump being elected as the U.S. president, it's made the Russian position much stronger. So some people are saying that we could see in the coming weeks, maybe months, Russia and the U.S. teaming up, fighting side by side in some way, to fight, to stamp out the Islamic State group. So this could be a development and could be a deal changer for Syria.
You have those two groups. You have the rebels, and then you have the terrorist group, the Islamic State. I think they made it very clear that the ceasefire does not apply to terrorist groups, and specifically, I assume they were referring to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State. Any word on how those groups, those terror groups, plan to address the ceasefire?
Well, not that I know. I haven't seen any official reaction from some of the Islamic State group's agencies or from the local Al-Qaeda affiliate. What's for sure is that no one expects Russia to stop targeting the Islamic State positions or the Al-Qaeda affiliates. The fate of the Kurdish militia YPG is even trickier. Bear in mind that Ankara, that Turkey has been fighting them since the beginning, which led to the border between Turkey and Syria to remain porous and allow for Islamists to carry weapons, bring weapons all the way from Turkey into Syria, for fighters, Islamist fighters, including from here in France and other European nations, to join the Islamists. And they went, many of them, if not to say most of them, went from Turkey to Syria, crossing the border by foot.
Well, let's hope it sticks. It's been a horrific situation for many innocent mothers, fathers, children, and let's hope this is a step in the right direction. On a different note, quickly, Ben, how is Paris, France going to ring in the new year?
Well, on the bright side with champagne, on the darker side with beefed up security forces.
I bet.
We're already seeing reports of police presence even more than usual. Even though this country, France, is still under a state of emergency, even more police officers, and not just here in the capital, but also in other parts of the country. Bearing in mind that the last major attack on French soil was not in Paris; it was in Nice, in the south of France.
Ben Barnier, ABC News correspondent, joining us from Paris, France. Happy New Year, Ben, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, and to you, Jay.
It is 6:28. It is 34 degrees. I'm Jay Kanzler, and this is